In this video, let's consider how you can help a teacher to analyse the data they've gathered when they've been exploring a particular issue in their classroom. Question 1. What kinds of data do teacher researchers gather? Let's start by remembering the different kinds of data a teacher might have gathered to answer their research questions. Sometimes the data is something that can be counted. For example, numbers of students agreeing or disagreeing with some statements on a questionnaire. And we call that quantitative data. To put it simply, quantitative data is numbers, things that you can count and measure. It's common for teachers to be relatively comfortable with numbers as we use them every day. So they may be expecting to count the data they gather. And depending on their previous experience with research or their images of what it should be like, perhaps they'll be expecting to use statistics, like averages or even more complex statistics. If there are numbers involved, you can assure teachers there's no need to present complex statistics or charts just for the sake of it. What matters most is the insight gained by the teacher, and we'll come on to that. But what I want to emphasize here is that a lot of, in fact most of the kinds of research procedure that we recommend for teacher research are going to involve generating what we call qualitative data. In other words, non-numerical information consisting of words, ideas, feelings, or observations. And this kind of data can provide deep and surprising insights into the issue that's being addressed. But teachers may not know what to do with all of this information, how to analyze it, in other words. So you may need to help them to make sense of it. 2. How can I guide teachers to analyze the data they've collected? Many people, including teachers, consider analyzing data daunting, but hopefully you can show how it's practicable and interesting, as it's where answers to questions start to emerge. For analyzing qualitative data, you may need to provide examples and some practice. For example, using some data, reflective writing by students, for example, that you've gathered yourself. You can show teachers how they can put codes, in other words, keywords, next to different statements they've gathered. And you can show them how these keywords become themes or main points relating to the data. So, for example, if there's a research question like, what do students say is motivating for them? And if students seem to say different things, like practicing with a partner, or trying out what we've learned, or using the lesson content, a teacher could write a common code word, like practice, next to these statements. And it seems like a theme is emerging that at least some students are motivated by actively engaging in practice, not just receiving new input. And this is called thematic analysis. And it's the main approach to use for qualitative data. It's a very useful skill for teachers to develop. One thing you might consider advising teachers to do is to put some of the qualitative statements they've received into a questionnaire to try to count how many other students agree or disagree. And this is quite a simple way to make a questionnaire. It's one way you can combine using deep insights from qualitative research with gaining some quantitative data. Finally, teachers might wonder, have I collected enough data? That's a natural concern, and it's another time when your role as a mentor is important. Obviously, data collection could go on forever, but teachers need to know when to stop and pull together what they've gathered, analyze it, and interpret their findings. As a mentor, you can help them recognize when it's time to stop collecting and consider what's been learned and what the next step will be.